And online, Jennifer.
Present.
I am present.
All those that are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark has our virtue card reading for the night. Mark, if you'd like to read that.
All right, so tonight's card is moderation. Moderation is creating a healthy balance in your life between work, play, rest, and exercise. You don't overdo or get swept away by the things you like. Use self-discipline to take charge of your life and your time. So you are practicing moderation when you get enough of what you need, no more, no less. You use self-discipline to stop yourself from overdoing. You take care of your health. You balance your work and play in your life. You know your own limits and set boundaries for yourself, and you are content with enough. The affirmation is, I am moderate. I am thankful and content to get what I need. I use my time and energy wisely. My life is well balanced.
All right, thank you, Mark. Board of Education guidelines. With an open mind, we'll establish an atmosphere that allows expression of all views, even when views are not in line with all members, being respectful of time. We'll work collaboratively with the district administrator by having open and honest conversations around district priorities. We'll work collaboratively with all stakeholders to monitor key indicators so that equitable teaching and learning results in high achievement. We will work toward building a trusting environment where both students and staff can reach their full potential and celebrate successes in academics to arts and athletics. And then our public comment section for tonight. Public comments during this period of the agenda, the board welcomes comments from the public on any item not on the agenda. Please know that pursuant to state law, the board cannot engage in conversations with you, but may ask questions. The board may refer the item to a staff, a standing committee, or a future agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have only 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to provide their name, address, and topic for discussion. So with that being announced, are there any public comment for tonight? All right. Skip over that. We're going to jump into showcasing schools and student learning, CWSA update.
Yep, so that's me. So my name is Jimmy Herman. I'm the new president for the Governance Council.
Congratulations, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you. So a little bit of exciting news. We got new enrollment. We got 18 new students coming in. So that is a lot of kids. So we're at right around lower 30, so around 33. So really exciting. Close it up this year and ready to start on the new year. So, any questions?
So congratulations on the new role.
Thank you.
All right, and then actually the man standing in the room now, Steve, our WISE contract renewal. The floor is yours.
So, hey, yeah, so we've done a lot of work on the revised contract. I know you guys have had it for a while in your hands, had a chance to review it. I just wanted to see if you had any questions for me on that, if there's any particular you want to examine on that. Otherwise, I think our work is concluded on that unless you want us to do additional work on it. If there's questions, yeah, we could spend some time on it.
I know Terry and I had some time to review that. I didn't know if there were any open
I
questions.
think the board has had it for a month, so I think we're good, but we do want to get signatures from you. And then Diana also has a couple of diplomas for you to sign.
Yes.
So, but any other questions for Steve?
Appreciate you guys' time for combing through that for us. So
Absolutely.
The official signing of the 5-year contract. Jimmy, this is coming up for you guys.
All right.
No pressure.
all right, well, I'll let him sign that then. No other questions.
No, I don't, we're good.
Perfect. All right, we're going to move on to April, Ellen, and Caitlin on the Peacedale model, the second year in review.
So I want to just do a little promo. This is going to be about 15 minutes, not 5. But April's, I think, have you been in front of the board before?
I have not.
All right, first time. So a lot of work has gone into the of course, PCL across the district. Caitlin's here with her tonight. She's our consultant that's worked. She's a partner with the district. and really helping and supporting us, which you'll see tonight. And then we also have Ellen here, one of our special ed teachers from the high school. You're going to hear the great things that are happening at Nekoosa High School. And I don't know, Keith, do you have anything to share before they get started?
Well, and the middle school. I mean, it's.
Oh, the middle school. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
Actually, Caitlin's now working 412 in this upcoming year. So they've been working this week with 4th and 5th grade.
It's been fantastic. There's been really great work this week. In fact, they'll be highlighted in her presentation today.
So principals, do you have anything you want to say while I'm calling this out?
We can't introduce them any better than they can introduce themselves.
yeah, I mean. There
Well,
you
so
go.
it's not just my presentation, it's Ellen and Caitlin as well. But my name is April Stiles and I'm the instructional coach at the high school. I'm also taking on a curriculum coordinator role as well, 4 through 12 for the district. So I just wanted to share a few highlights of our year and the work that the teachers and the coaches and the administrators have been doing.
So here we go.
All right. So as you know, there are 10 features in the PCL model. I'm not going to hit on every single one. I'm just going to highlight a few here tonight. I need a signal for you, Mr. Whitmore, that you can keep going. So as you know, last year we started to work with gradual release of responsibility, and that was to create a common language for all of our teachers in our pursuits of improving instruction. And so just this year, we continued that work with GRR 6 through 12. We're adding 4 and 5 this upcoming school year. But the one thing I wanted to touch on was that this year we really focused on addressing teachers as individuals and trying to be responsive to their needs. And so I just have a quick picture there of the teachers working. And then we use reflection forms and surveys at the end of every single workshop to ask teachers what they needed, what support they needed, and where they felt they were at in the process. And that helped us guide our learning plan for the year. And then next year, we're going to continue working in small groups and continue that structured support for teachers. Also in the model feature number 3 is our teachers that work as model classroom teachers. This is Amanda Wright, and we used her a lot this year to really highlight both reflective practice and instructional practice. So Amanda presented several times for us. Lots of teachers were in to see her teach. And she was willing to engage in live coaching sessions for reflective practice. And so our teachers were able to sit in on that and listen to her process her teaching. We were also able to showcase Abby Bradle and Rachel Genrith, who are teachers at the high school. And number one, they collaborated in planning with myself in workshop units at the high school level. So we were able to facilitate small groups and again, just hone in on specific student needs. And then also, we were able to use their classrooms, not only at the high school, but again, some teachers at AMS as well. And the administrators and the coaches did walkthrough observations, and we were able then to meet afterwards and calibrate our thinking around our observations and what some of that teaching goals look like, so that we all, had the same idea in mind. So that's Mr. Whitmore and Mr. Johnson.
You can see that Terry
I was learning.
engaged in the course.
I was engaged.
Always engaged, 100%. But
So in continuing our work with improving instruction and more impactful instruction, feature 4 is high standards. That's both for teachers and for students. And so on June 12th, we participated in a Danielson training, which is basically a framework for excellence in teaching. Mentors, coaches, and administrators participated in this, and Susan Baldwin, the assistant principal, set that up for us, and that was just this past Monday. So we're going to be able to use that and coincide it with the PCL model to, again, support teachers and that instruction. Also, underneath high standards, we really focused in curriculum this year in getting our teachers aligned with the state standards. And so we've been doing a lot of standards work and looking at providing rigor and support for our students. And this is the 5th grade team in action just this week, aligning their standards and checking their units. But our efforts have been focused on this, and it's really set the foundation for next year. And we'll continue our summer work that will look at scope and sequence in our curriculum. I've already met with high schools, science, social studies, middle school ELA, and then we have the 4th and 5th grade team in this week. So there's already been a lot of really great work happening this summer. So this is our science team at the high school. And they've done a lot of work this year in their standards, and they are building some new units and things coming up. And I'm going to feature them in just a minute too in their work in networking, but I'm going to come back to them. So go ahead and skip forward a little bit. Feature 7 is collaborative learning teams. This year, as you know, we started meeting as a district for different initiatives. I think I missed wellness up there. I'm sorry, Candace. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, that was a first this year, and it's really working to build cohesion and alignment to the district vision. The professional learning team also met regularly, admin and coaches, and we worked on group reflective practice and also our work around curriculum to build a shared understanding of our beliefs and our desired state in Nekoosa. And Caitlin led several of those.
And did you want me to speak to that a little bit?
If you'd like to, we use that work to sketch out our plan, our literacy plan, and our plan moving forward with curriculum, not only this year, but the next few years, if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. So by the way, I'm Caitlin Etten, and I'm a literacy consultant at PCL who is working on the secondary level. My specialty is secondary instruction and design, and it's been really awesome coming to Nekoosa. I've been a part of the network with Nekoosa for many, many years, but I've never actually been able to work in Nekoosa with the people here. And I have to say, you guys have a bit of a reputation. I don't know if you're worried about that, but actually your reputation in PCL is that you are the nicest district. Like if you come to Nekoosa, they'll take care of you, they feed you, they're so kind to you. You have a reputation of being incredibly kind. So take that as you will. And it turned out to be true. So it was really great to come and spend time with you guys. So she was talking a little bit about our professional learning team that met throughout the year that really worked on trying to build sort of a shared understanding of what our expectations are for curriculum when it comes to Nekoosa. So we dove into the UBD text and tried to build some shared language and some shared understanding as a team. We then used that to sort of design our shared beliefs around curriculum and our desired state. And those informed how we sketched out the way we will spend the next few years. And we're using those things also as sort of a gut check along the way to make sure that we don't get too far off the path of what we believe in and what we know is good for our district and curriculum. So that was that. It was one of the places I got to work. And by the way, April is amazing. I don't know if anybody has told you about her. You have to keep her. She started just out of the gate, even though she was in training, she's been working super hard with all the kids here, as well as all the teachers, and has made major strides in a lot of different departments. And you guys are so lucky. Like I said,
You're too
she's
kind.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kayla.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So in speaking with PCL, to continue that, we were really able to leverage our network this year with PCL schools. This is just a picture of a visit that our science team took to collaborate with teachers in Marshall that are also working on their gradual release of responsibility initiative. And so they were able to observe a few lessons and then also debrief with the teacher afterwards and just talk about instruction and engage in some professional conversations for growth. So then our science team took some of those things from Marshall, and they were really thinking about how they can create inquiry and engagement and rigor in their own lessons. And that's really sparked some work for next year, and they're doing a fantastic job creating that vision as a department and executing it. Yeah. Okay, next one. Sorry. Okay, also, we were able to spotlight, not only were we able to go to other schools and see what they were doing, but we were also able to spotlight there are really good things happening here at Nekoosa as well. And one of those things this year was a reading intervention class. We called it Reading Across Genres. And we were able to highlight that in a coaching network meeting that was hosted here at Nekoosa. But while we have her here and we have this up, Ellen Fry was really, I guess, the cornerstone of that. And so I just wanted her to speak to that experience.
Well, thanks. You stole my plug. I was going to do a plug for April. I came to Nekoosa District about 8 years ago, and I really came here because I believe in empowering all students. And I remember when I interviewed with Terry, and then when Brian came on board, they really shared my heart. And then April came this year and we got talking about it, and that's what reading across genres then was. I am so excited to be part of a district that is committed to complete inclusion. At the same time, there is a need beyond that to create equity for not just students with IEPs, but all students that need that extra assistance so that they can learn skills and strategies that they can transfer across any curriculum, academically, but also socially, so that they can be empowered not only in school, but in society as they graduate and go on, either to college or to another job. And so creating this class provided me that opportunity. And April was so kind. The first part of class, you know, she spent, not only was she doing instruction herself with the courses she was taking, she was instructing me in how to do this in a class. And then, you know, we were able to make that shift into her coaching me more than instructing me, which was so exciting. And the networking that we've been able to do has just been phenomenal. So we've networked within our school system. I am super blessed to work with Abby Bradel, who I'm sure you all are aware is the best teacher that we have in our school district. And I get to work with her every day co-teaching. And she has mentored me and empowered me to be a better teacher. And in doing that, I've also had the opportunity to work with John Panis, who's a new algebra teacher. And so we've created this kind of network across the freshman class to come alongside these freshmen and get them ready as they prepare for their next 3 years after their freshman year. And doing that, April kind of took us the next step, you know, helping us coordinate with the middle school and aligning our standards, aligning what we're doing in curriculum so that we can just be better at what we do. And we've been able to network even with the elementary school. We brought our reading across genre students over and they read with the kindergartners in Mrs. Sprang's class, and they had a great experience. The kindergartners had a great experience. But the best part has been watching those students who struggled in reading become leaders within the freshman English class. And so I just like to say that they really are the heroes and the experts as they've gone forward and pushed to do things that they did not think they could do. And so in the last project that we had at the end of the year, we have a student who has struggled since elementary age with reading, and he really became his team leader and led this big project in his group for his literacy. And we've had others who wouldn't have even passed freshman English class if they hadn't had a teacher like Mrs. Bradel, plus had the skills that were reinforced in this reading across genre class. And April's made that possible. So thanks, April.
Thank you, Ellen. To just 1 second. I just wanted to also give a shout out to Mr. Johnson because he also was flexible in letting us plug that in, that schedule in the last minute. Yes. Really supported us in doing that. So that, you know, now I guess just in other districts, I've noticed just sometimes administrators aren't exactly that willing to take that risk with something that last minute, but so that is a shout out to Mr. Johnson too. We were also able to network with a school in Iowa that's a PCL school, and we spoke with them. They've been in the PCL model for quite some time and developed quite a system of interventions. And the PCL model has what's called SIM, Comprehensive Intervention Model. Sorry, lots of acronyms. So we were able to talk to them, and what we found out in talking to them, which I thought was really cool, was that we have a lot of really good stuff going on in our district. And we're not that far off. So a school that's been doing this for a very long time, we found out that not only at the elementary level, but also at the secondary level, we do have some of our stuff together. And it's really exciting to talk to people in another state and see that, hey, we're doing good things. And now we've also got that contact so we can lean on them for some support, but they're also asking us about our model and how we're handling it. So you know, we talk about PCL, and one of the best things that's come out of it is networking and getting to know other educators. And that's really been helpful in our process and affirming as well. And so we're just going to end tonight. I have 2 very short videos, but you know, the reason why we're all here is students. And I did have permission from these students to share their videos. It might be a little clunky. I didn't get a chance to quite edit them. So Mr. Whitmore has my time stamps here, but I just wanted to put a shout out to the kids. And like I said, these are 2 kids that allowed us to show their videos, and just to hear them talk about their reading is pretty powerful. This takes place on a Zoom. I had to work from home. My daughter had surgery and I had to be there. But when I was at home, Ellen and I coordinated so that I could do conferring with our kids through Zoom. And so the kids and I met, and I asked permission to record our conversations, like for the reflection piece, so that we could watch them. And so you're going to see them talk about their reading journey this year. So the first video you can play till the young lady stops. Nope, go back one. Okay, yep, go ahead. Okay, I'm recording. How's it going today?
This is awkward, but
Yeah, it's fine. There's a video. Yeah. Good. Staying out of trouble? That's good. Okay, so, I thought today we would just get started with, yesterday, or whatever day it was. We just asked you about how you felt that reading was going for you, and you're kind of talking about how some things have changed for you this year. So would you just elaborate a little bit about what has been your reading journey this year? Kind of how did you start freshman year? Where do you feel like you are now, and what has changed for you?
I was saying, like, in the beginning of the year, I was not a big reader. I did not like reading at all, unless I actually had to read something for a class. But I feel like now, as towards the middle, when I found a genre that I really enjoyed, and books that either relate to me or are just heartfelt, feeling in the heart, I feel like that was more my genre, and I actually found books that I liked about that, just like the book club bestseller. I am 100 pages ahead of my whole group right now, so I only have 10 pages left in my book, and I feel like this is the fastest I've ever had read a book ever. I've only had this book for about a week, so I'm almost done with it, and I think just finding my right genre and not being told what to read is where I found I love to read. I read when I go home, I read in the morning, I read dinner time, I just love reading now. And at middle school, I did not read, probably did not finish one book. And this year I finished 4 or 5. So I thought that was transitioning to high school, where I actually get to pick the books I want, not just a sticker on the side of the book, oh, that's what I have to read.
Nice. So do you feel like not only do you like to read, do you feel like you're a more confident reader? Do you feel like you're a better reader?
I feel like I'm a better reader because I actually can take in the book, and I'm not just skinny and scanning like I did in middle school in the beginning of the year. I read a lot of chunks at a time, but after I'm done reading and before I start a new chunk of reading, I ask myself, oh wait, what happened before this? And so I can just kind of remember myself where I'm at in the book. And I feel like I can comprehend the book very well now.
Are there any strategies that you use now as a reader that you didn't use before? You touched on it a little bit, how you. Okay, and then, so finally, I just wanted to highlight this young man who, I might get a little emotional about this one, but this was him in the fall. And we kind of ended up stuck together, honestly, because I needed a student to work with. He needed some help, and that picture there shows just about what I was feeling coming to a new district, going through the PCL coursework, and being faced with this young man who, obviously it was a challenge for me as well. But fast forward to the spring, he came along in our reading across genres class, and if you would just start the video at 3:38, I believe. 3:28.
escape out of it and then go back and.
You can go back to the other one too if you want. I just don't take it away. You can. Yes, loading.
Oh, it is loading?
Yeah, oh, shoot.
Oh, it's part of the same video.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
So if you go to 3:20.
I got it now.
All right.
I'm a slow learner.
I asked you if you wanted me to drive. Maybe.
What did I do?
It advanced to the next slide.
Yeah.
Just had-
Oh, I did?
And like I read a lot of chunks at a time. The left page, so most of the time I'll just like forget that right page or that left page and not even read it.
And, all right, so, stop at 5:07, okay? We're at the end of the year almost, okay? So would you be willing to talk to me a little bit about how you feel you're doing now compared to when you started your freshman year? And just, how are you feeling as a student? How are you feeling as a reader? Yeah, you just share your experience of freshman year.
To be honest, my freshman year, first half was like just slacking off, to be honest. Like, that's when I felt like honestly really didn't matter. So I just kind of did whatever. But compared to now, I mean, like majority of my classes, I'll basically get work done. And like reading now, like I feel like I actually enjoy reading more. Like personally, I used to not like it. I used to not be able to concentrate or focus at all on reading. But this book I've been reading, I actually caught myself liking it, like finding interest like I would find in a show.
Wow. Is this the book you're reading for Miss Bradel's book clubs?
Yeah,
Do you have it with you?
yeah.
What, can you remind me what it is? Can
It's,
you show me the cover? It's a
it is,
Okay.
it's on this.
Take them all.
Yeah.
Now 10:20.
There's just one more minute I was gonna highlight, which is, starts at 10:20.
Become the lowest form of scum on this planet. And this seems to catch her off guard.
Nice. So did you just pick that part? Did you think that that was like a big moment? Did you just, it was written? Okay.
Kind of, cause I feel like when it said it seems to catch her off guard, like after that it made her a little more vulnerable. Like she was kind of starting to like sort of understand what like why or what he was doing down there.
Do you have book club groups today?
I'm not sure.
Well, if you do, you should bring that up in that passage. You should put a sticky note there or something, or write it down. Because that would be a nice part for you to bring up to your group. So the part that got kind of flipped there is that he was willing to read his book out loud. And that was something he was never really willing to do before. And then he was willing to take that to his peer group in Miss Bradel's class and talk about that. And Ellen and I actually found him like leading some of the discussions. It was just really helpful for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And not just those two students, but all of the students shall grow there. But these are just the two that we were able to highlight. But I just wanted you to see the impact that all of this makes. So, thank you.
Yeah, I did. I know. I want to say you can really tell the empowering piece and just hearing the passion you guys talking regarding our community and students. And I think just watching some of those videos speaks to that empowering pack, and the equity too, I think is huge. So thank you guys very much. Any questions for the board? Or?
It sounds to me like you're not afraid to learn, and that's awesome.
We've done a lot of learning this year. It's been great. And thank you for the opportunity to learn.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. We are going to head on over to
Thank you, guys.
Communicating with the board. We're going to have John Thomas speak about the emergency drill review for approval. What's your gun there? You want to stay for live?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Telling her now she gets to be because I'm out of her sight.
Thank you.
Part of the district safety is Officer Polo and I have to run 2 unannounced drills in each of the buildings. We did our second one for the school year, our first for the calendar year, on May 8th. At Humke Elementary, we have about 350 students in the building, 30 staff. That one took us about 30 minutes. We go room to room with each of them. Earlier in the year, Officer Polo trains everybody on ALICE procedures, with our new verbiage on lockdown. He goes through that with each classroom. So we will go into the classroom, remind the students, hey, we're going to practice one of these, and then they demonstrate it for us. In every one of the classrooms, the students were spot on. They knew what to do. They know where to go to get their voice level at the right one. So each classroom demonstrated it. We even had guest teachers in the building who were able to demonstrate that, yes, I know I got the barrier here. I can do it here. Here's how I slide it. So they were able to demonstrate as well. On top of that, one of the things that we kind of started this last year is having our doors locked at all times has enhanced this because they don't have to go worry about locking the door, making sure it's there. So at the elementary school, it was good. We still just have a few spots where our communication, we know this with the speaker system is still getting work done. At the middle school, we had about 329 students that day and about 45 staff members. The drill there took only about 15 minutes. On this one, we did an announcement over the system to say that we were going to be doing a practice hold procedures. So all students followed it. We had all classrooms -1 followed the hold procedures, and the one that didn't follow the hold went above and beyond. So they were more safe than they needed to be for what we were doing. There again, we still have a few areas of communication that it wasn't coming through the speakers. We know those with our IT, and we're working to fix those as well. The last one we did was at the high school. That day we had about 249 students in building, 43 staff. We ran this one. This one only took about 10 minutes. Once again, because of our move to have classroom doors locked at all times. We couldn't find anybody that was doing it. Once again, there was just in the associate principal's office, there's not a communication device through there. But all in all, every one of our schools, extremely safe. Officer Cole and I went through the year checking exterior doors, working with Steve Hertzberg on fixing everything that was in need. And overall, we're very safe. So what I would need from the board is just for the Wisconsin School Violence Drill Evaluation Report, a signature, verify that we have done the secondary one, so I can submit these to the state. What is the consensus with the speaker system? Do we need a new one? Is it an upgrade or is it just faulting in some areas or?
It was just like, no, I should have Eric here to speak more about switches and things like that, but we work with the company that has it, and a switch was out, and anytime we make a note of it, between Steve Hertzberg and Eric, we work to rectify that.
Which is why we do this test anyway.
Which is why we do this, yeah. And Officer Cole and I went through each of the buildings in the summer, just played music and went and checked every room for verification of this. So yes, these tests are just is there anything else we need to look at?
Sure. Okay.
Explain, what does the drill look like? Like what is?
So what it is we have, like I'll give you Alexander Middle School. I have Michelle Linsmeyer in the office will make an announcement over our paging system. At this time, we're going to go into a practice hold. Please follow hold procedures. This last year, Officer Cole and I made for every room what the procedures were, what you should do. So in a hold, everybody just goes into their room, continues teaching as they had done before. Officer Cole and I, and sometimes the other members of the police department will come, we go through and we check every door in the building, see if it's secured. Some put the barriers on, and we go through and just make note of it. And then we have feedback from anybody that here was an issue of concern, here was something that we noticed on it. We do the same model at the high school, where we make an announcement. And these are unannounced. We show up and say, we're going to do one right now.
We usually get yelled at a little, but what we do, and the elementary, we found instead of doing a school-wide one, it's much more beneficial going classroom to classroom.
What is the time that you'd like to see them at?
The whole drill itself only took like 10 minutes. That's for Officer Cole and I to walk the entire building checking. The doors are locked in under 15, 20 seconds. So in that time it's secure, but we're just a little slower to get all around there.
And my last question is, how are the the door barriers? I know last year a couple of staff members struggled. Are they catching on to those, putting those?
Yes, so we work with like buildings and grounds too. One of the issues we had were some of the holes would get filled in. So they've been cleaning those out. Like I said, in addition to that, what Officer Cole had brought back was in all instances where there was a door lock, there was never any breach of it in any of the school shootings or any casualties. So that's why we kind of switched to our doors are locked. So even if they aren't using the barriers, the barricades, that door lock is simple enough to have people move on.
Any follow-up questions?
Should we have all of our doors with the barricade outfitted right now?
Every door when we first did this had it. I think we've had an addition of one has been turned into a little office that doesn't, but there again, the locking the door has been the prevention for it.
All right, and then at this time, I will look for a motion to approve the emergency drill review. Got a first? Second, those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. Thank you. We'll get those signed after the meeting tonight then. And then we are going to skip over again, just a little bit over the agenda to our wellness policy. So Candace is here tonight to talk about that.
All right, well, I'll give you guys some updates on what we've been doing. Wellness has gone really well this year. The exciting part is we got a committee who is passionate about wellness besides myself. So that's been fantastic to work with. We met the second Wednesday of every month, and I worked with Mary Rebin, Erica Moore, Kathy Huck, Brooke Thurber, Keith Johnson, and then myself. So that was our crew. And we also, our Aspirus representative, we used to work with Ryan Bashar, but now he got transferred to a new account. So we work with a gentleman named Patrick Thompson, and he's been awesome and fabulous for us as well. And he's been traveling out and attending our meetings in person and stuff. So just all around a great group, and that's been really invigorating to wellness, I think, and been really cool. So some things we did, we continued on with the Aspirus in the managed well system. Our participation has increased. Last year we were at 46% of the staff, and this year we are up over 53%. So we hit over that 50 mark, which was our goal. So super jacked about that. We did the biometric screening, which we're already signed and up ready for next year already. But that screening again is where Aspirus comes in and they do a height, weight, blood pressure, and blood draw. And with that blood draw, they check for cholesterol, HDL, DLD, triglycerides, and glucose. And last year I reported about how someone didn't realize how high their cholesterol and glucose levels were, and actually needed to make some health changes, and actively did because of just being unaware of it. And when the staff was surveyed about their experience, the 100% satisfaction rate, you can see the different responses people gave, like they appreciated offering the service, they thanked us, saying people are caring, concerned, all that. And a cool factor is the levels of glucose that were the first year actually dropped down this year. So people are actively making a difference now with their health and wellness, which really got me excited. So it was 33% and we were down to 21% for starter glucose ratings, which, yay, that was awesome. We went ahead and extended our time with Aspirus. We actually bumped it out another month. So we went till May this year. And so that allowed us to put into 4 challenges. People love the challenges. They want to be a part of the challenges. And we had good participation rate. We did 2 walking challenges, which was the Oregon Trail. So if you're a child of the 80s that played Oregon Trail, this was your game. And it was awesome. It was so fun to go on. And they sent us all these messages like you were literally playing the Oregon Trail back in the day. Unfortunately, Hunky snuck in at the last second and beat us. High school was at a lead and then they sneak attacked us the last day and won. But we got them back in the Walk Across America Challenge. So the high school won, so there is a little bit of rivalry going on between them, which is makes things more fun too. We also did a healthy bingo around the holidays. And then to wrap the year out, which was the Fabulous 5 Challenge, that one was a little less participation. But this one we did in April and everyone, I'll admit, like I signed up for it and I admit I didn't finish it just because my brain, it got too far, too many things going on. So, but again, lots of different varieties and we're trying to also encompass more than just the physical aspect. We're trying to focus on all the dimensions of wellness and really bring that more to the forefront versus just always a walking challenge. We had great numbers as far as people earning points. This year in bronze, we went up to 34 compared to 30 last year. In the silver level, we had 27 this year compared to 20 of the first year. And this is super awesome. Our highest level, we had 22 people this year compared to 14 last year. So again, we're making great gains with it, participation and stuff. And so then we gave out a ton of prizes to everybody and everybody was super excited about all the prizes that we gave out. And so again, and you can see on there, the total wellness points recorded by all, we are up to almost 40,000 this year compared to our first year where we were at 33,000. So again, you can just see that participation is increasing. What we're looking forward to is, again, Aspirus is going to be coming in on our first day of in-service to kick off the program day 1 to everybody. We got the biometric screening already set up for in September. We're going to continue with our Wellness Wednesdays, which I think we're a fun change of pace. And I know it was nice to bring the students in because they want to know what we're going to dress like on Wednesday or why we're wearing what we're wearing if they couldn't figure out the theme. So it was a nice incorporation with the students. A lot of staff have continued to ask for those soft starts back on in-service days that we offered a few years back before the whole COVID thing hit. And they really are pushing as that opportunity to be social and engaging with the coworkers that we don't sometimes get to do. So there's a big push for that to come. And so we're working, I've been working with April to get that on the docket, continuing with our events. And then we want to do a body scan as well. We're going to continue our work with Aspirus. And we did do a staff survey, which is helping us guide our work. We actually created a whole bunch of new categories within the portal for people to go ahead and participate. One thing was, for example, is we're kind of calling it, I think it's outdoor pursuits, because people were asking for like hunting and fishing and all that outdoor stuff to count for points. And absolutely. So we added that in. Mary Revin is very ambitious. She wants to increase our participation by 20%. That's all Mary. So she's on a mission and continuing with challenges and programs. So, and then again, we're going to continue with our Wednesday activities and dress themes, things like that. So just keeping this ball moving. And now that people actually know what wellness is, like it's part of our vocabulary, it's pretty cool. So that's kind of wrapping that part up. I do need one update from you guys is we needed to make an adjustment to the wellness policy. We need to add in some language regarding marketing to our nutrition section, with the nutrition review. That was one part where we got dinged. And so I added in under letter F of the nutrition section of the big wellness policy. It's that it's green and highlighted here, but it's basically, Lynn helped me find this and shared it out with me but basically we're going to restrict food and beverage marketing only to those foods and beverages that meet the nutrition standards set forth by the USDA's nutrition standards for all foods sold in schools. And then it goes through and lists off what those things are, which is a very long list to read. But if it's all good with you, you're good with it, then I can go ahead and update the policy because we will be up for our triennial assessment this upcoming year. So then we will have that covered.
So is that something new that was pushed through this year then? That was.
For the marketing, that was a result of our school nutrition review.
Okay.
I just want to comment on that too. Our school nutrition review has to review our wellness initiatives. And they were so impressed with Candace's initiative in wellness. They are actually referring other school districts to us because we have done such a good job. So kudos again.
I actually spoke up in Ryan and at the beginning of May to all the local businesses through Aspirus because they wanted to know, the districts requested a school district because I figured if a school district could do it, they could do it. And so I actually presented to them and shared out and been in contact with various businesses on what we do and how we do to help them start their own wellness programs. So we wore my little Nekoosa shirt and represented well. So
What would you attribute the 46 to 53 jump that you guys had for participation? What would you attribute that to?
I think a big thing would be, I won't lie, people like prizes and I'm good at handing out prizes. And I think too is, I think the fact that, we incorporated more by doing things that weren't intimidating, like the Wellness Wednesdays and things like that. And then people realize, oh, but I just got to wear a Packer shirt. Oh, that's not hard to do, you know? And, so we try to really make it as friendly as possible. And then I think people are like, oh, well, this person did this last year, I can do that. So that's what I'm hoping to build on that momentum for the upcoming year.
Well, kudos to you and your team and the wellness policy group and committee you have there. Any follow-up questions for Candace or Lynn? All right, so then I will look for a motion to approve our wellness policy.
So moved.
You got
Second
a
it.
first and a second. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. Thank you. All right, so we're going to jump back to the front of our agenda tonight. Communicating with the board, actually back to Lynn Knights.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're going to defer, okay. All right, Brian.
I have 3 things for you. The first one, just as a heads up, in July, I will be bringing forward, as you know, we team with Port Edwards for some of our special education services, specifically for early childhood and for students with intellectual disabilities. So we have come together, Port Edwards and Nekoosa, to discuss the program 66030 because there was some language that was just outdated and needed updating. So I'll be bringing that to you for board approval in July, but we are on the same page with some of the language and things that we have to adjust in our programming and our process. So, but we've already met, Nathan sat in the meeting as well. Terry was aware, and we met with James Bina and Kara Christie and just really just updated the program procedures.
Okay.
The other thing that our school nurses will be coming in July because we realized our sick policy is Denise did a wonderful job and we cannot thank her enough for everything she has done for our district. But when she was the only school district nurse and she was only here 2 days a week, there was only so much she could do. And by having Jade here with her the last few years, her and Jade had some great conversations. So that way we have a consistent policy of when should a kid stay home, when should they return to school, especially when vomiting and a few other things are involved. So we'll be bringing that policy forward for you guys to look at and approve. Then the third thing I just want you guys to know with our work with the behavior multi-tiered systems of support, every single one of our buildings in the district were recognized as a bronze level school through the MTSS Center. So it was a great accomplishment, a great amount of work by the building teams and principals to get that level of recognition. So, and this is the first time all 3 of our buildings are being recognized. So
kudos to you.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Do we, are we just down to 1 nurse? Is Jade working full time or are we going to?
So last month you approved Tammy Lobner will be the other part-time school nurse. So what has changed is we're no longer going to have the contract with Aspirus for Denise. We have 2 part-time nurses and our doctor or our consult for our district is moving over to Dr. Amy Falk, will be our collaborator that signs off a lot of our processes to make sure they align with what the state requires.
Okay. Questions for Brian? Congrats again on the bronze level there. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, I know Alexa's been waiting patiently. It's summer now, so what do you have for us this month?
Just an update on the blood drive we had last Friday. We collected 29 units of blood, so we passed our goal to get our senior extra scholarship money. That was really exciting, and that's all I had.
Any summer school updates? I know I started this week, right?
Some of it started this week, and some of it's starting next week. So we've got some students who are in the building already, some who will be coming next week, and then, and then summer school will be up and running for the next 5 weeks.
Awesome.
And
I'm
then
sure some
before
of
you
you
know it, we'll be into fall
Yeah,
athletics starting up. So.
perfect. Well, thanks, Alexa. I know you were patiently waiting for the 30-second spiel, but thank you. All right, so now we're gonna go into the fun stuff, policy governance, R1 overarching results. Harry, if you want to read the first paragraph for us.
Yeah, and the overarching results really reflect back on our vision. And our vision is to equip all students to succeed in a diverse global community, academically, emotionally, and socially. So over the course of the year, we have heard from presenters like we heard tonight from April. And really that's a reflection of the work that's happening across the district. So that's R1 results.
And I know we kind of combed through a lot of these policies in our board workshop. Were there any other questions that came through between last week and now for the board on?
Well, I will say that I took good notes at the workshop and I wrote down all of the ideas that you generated.
You want to share a couple?
Well, you know what? I don't have them here. So, but what were they? They were, clubs. You wanted to hear more on the partnership, Brian. I don't think you can make it. The partnership we have with like Human Services, the Leo program. They wanted to hear about that. They want to hear more about the push-in services that we get with social workers and services that come into schools. What were some of the other ones?
So just more things outside of curriculars and things, So just a nice little
different look.
stuff, so. Awesome. All right, I will look for a motion to approve R1 then.
So moved.
At a first.
Second.
By Mark. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. Thank you. And then R4, collaborative and responsible citizens.
So last week we talked about R4 and that really centered around conversations, which really center around all students being productive and collaborative contributors in the workplace and in society. So we talked about self-confidence, self-respect. What are we doing in our schools for that? We talked about communication and how are we helping our kids be better communicators through listening, talking about opinions and perspectives, effectively conveying ideas, feelings, and beliefs, what the district's doing about in that area. Understanding the practice and the rights and responsibilities of contributing members. What does that look like? What does that sound like? And finally, what are we doing to help our kids accept personal responsibility for creating worthy outcomes, quality of life, and social justice?
And I think we had a really good conversation. I know Anne's on online tonight on Zoom, but our only recommendation was to kind of highlight what are things being done for the academy in that area. But other than that, I think the discussions are all really positive and we want to commend all the principals for all the hard work they're doing around the building. So, Anne, was there anything more you wanted to comment on? I know you're having fun on vacation, so.
I'm muting.
There you go.
Yeah, I mentioned about Nekoosa Academy because and I know you're going to do a lot of volunteering. That's something that should really see it and the community realizes how the academy does.
We're having a hard time hearing it, Anne, but we will connect after this meeting. I'll get your comments. So might just be in a bad spot for a while. So she's in the Northwoods somewhere. So
We'll mute her.
I guess I just found out that the two videos that we saw of the two kids that were in maybe not very engaged and able to get them up and I mean, those are two examples of things that are going on, bringing kids forward.
Yeah. But then it highlighted responsibility and stuff like that too, which was nice, so.
But you can see how hard it is to engage kids,
Oh,
right? So,
It can be.
yeah,
I think we talked last time too about all the great things that are happening and how do we share those out with our community and family stakeholders.
Yeah,
I put that in the notes too.
good, yeah, that would be a good like recommendation of, for what we can do in the future.
For videos for Nathan.
And stuff too, so. Was there any other thoughts or comments or input from it? I know we had a really good discussion around this, so. All right, well then at this time, I'll look for a motion to approve R4.
So move.
First,
Second.
and a second by Mark. Those all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Moving along to GP2 governance commitments.
Yeah, and the Nekoosa Board of Education supports the welfare and education of students, the interest of the community, and the work of the staff. The board shall hold itself accountable to property taxpayers of the school district of Nekoosa, who are the owners of the district, by ensuring that all of its actions are consistent with the board's policies and in compliance with state and federal statutes and regulations.
I think the policy speaks for itself, and we're here to serve to our community and taxpayers. So, any comments? I know these next couple of GPs are pretty simple. So, I'll just look for a motion on this one then.
So moved.
Got a first,
I'll second it.
a second. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried for GP2. Terry, if you'd like to read GP4 for us.
Board job description. The board's job is to represent the community and its students while ensuring that the district demonstrates excellence. The board is to accomplish this through community linkages, writing policies, monitoring district administrator board relations policies, monitoring results policies, and supporting the district's needs outside the community, such as state and federal levels.
Any comments for GP4? Pretty straightforward. All right, I'll look for a motion then for GP4. First, second by Mark. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. And our last governance policy for tonight, GP6.
Yeah, and this is regarding board committees. The board will rarely use committees and only to assist with the board's work. Committees will not instruct the staff or district administrator and will only speak on behalf of the full board when authorized to do so. Committees will only be organized with the approval of the full board and will be dissolved at the conclusion of their assignment. A committee is a sub-part of the entire board.
I think we talked about it's a pretty rare thing, but I think the last time we met was around our athletics. So, all right. So a simple one. I'll just look for a motion for that too. First, second by Mark. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. And then just our last one, we have two to cover: operational expectations, OE1 global operational expectations.
All right. All decisions made, actions taken, practices, and activities by employees and students in the district will be legal, ethical, safe, respectful, responsible, in accordance with board policies. Such decisions and actions will be made with the best interest and future success of the district as a priority. District and building plans are aligned to the board's results policies as expressed in the strategic plan.
I know this one was kind of a light conversation for last week too in our workshop. So anything else come to mind between last week and now? All right. I'll look for a motion for OE1.
So move.
Got a first,
Second.
second by Mark. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. And then our last one here, OE13 facilities management.
And that policy states annually, the board shall assure that physical facilities support the accomplishment of the board's results policies.
I know Lynn combed through a lot of things that maintenance do, and the requests for any funds over $15,000. Lynn did a good job explaining those to us. Anything more you wanted to comment or any questions for Lynn for tonight? All right. I'll look for a motion for OE 13 then. First by Dave, second by Mark. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. Thank you, everyone. I believe this next one here is for Keith, other board work 23-24 WIA.
Yeah, for the sake of speed for our meeting tonight, if we wish to participate in WIA athletics, we need to have this approved. This is WIA membership. So need an approval on it.
I'll look for a motion.
I move that we approve the WIA membership for 23-24.
First by Mark. Second by Dave. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None, motion carried. Thank you and thank you, Keith.
Do we have an official copy? Dana, do you have that? Or should I just take this copy and have?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, when does like the athletic code and all that stuff come out? Is that?
That's at the beginning of the year. But one of you, I just need one of you to fill that out.
Perfect. I'll get to that later then. And then I believe, Lynn, this next one is yours, the S&P breakfast lunch prices.
Yep, for the next three are mine. So this is an annual item brought to the board. This is post-COVID now, so we have no more COVID waivers in regards to school nutrition. As I've mentioned in previous board meetings, everything in the school nutrition area is highly regulated by the federal government. That includes the prices that we charge for school lunches and milk. So in order to provide equity within school funding, meaning that every meal, no matter if it's paid or free or reduced or whatever, it has to be equal. So in order to charge enough money to cover the cost of the meal, we have to increase lunch prices and milk prices. I don't think it's any surprise that prices have gone through the roof in just about everything that we do. So for this year, after completing a complex spreadsheet that is provided by the federal government, the spreadsheet indicates that we would have to increase prices by 10 cents. So I am requesting approval to increase the prices as proposed in the memo for lunch, for students, and for milk for everyone. The breakfast will stay the same. The adult prices will stay the same, but everything else will be up 10 cents or 20 cents for milk.
I just have one question, because you report like Taher had a pretty substantial excess
yes.
And so this is kind of separate because that was what they had budgeted and they came in under budget.
Correct.
So this has nothing to do with that Taher budgeting.
So
it's kind of a separate deal.
It is because it's COVID and post-COVID.
Okay.
So just about every single district that had a school nutrition program made money during COVID because we had so much money thrown at us.
Okay.
So we obviously save that money so we can actually afford things in the school nutrition program. So for example, we're looking at additional refrigeration or freezer at the middle school because some of that equipment is close to 30 years old. So now that it's post-COVID, we're getting back into the normal routine again. And when you set the prices, unfortunately, the spreadsheet does not, or the government does not look at what's in your fund balance. They only care about how much it costs to make a meal and how much you're charging.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's goofy as heck, isn't it?
Do you know how many students have the reduced and free lunch option here? Is it?
Yeah, it's about 57%.
Okay. And then, so at the beginning of the school year, will there be correspondence for each kid to take home?
Oh,
Application to get filled out?
yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're pretty active. Actually, Diana and I work together on that. She's probably more active than I am into making sure that all the families are notified of the new prices. If they owe anything, we convince them, or we try and convince them to fill out a free and reduced application. The beauty of this whole thing is the free and reduced application is kind of going by the wayside now, because most of the students that qualify for free and reduced are direct certified by the state. So all I have to do is upload a file to the state. They send me a file back with all the students' names and say, these are the ones that qualify for free and reduced. So, I mean, that's about 50% of it, which is awesome. And that's just growing. It's getting better.
Okay. Any other questions for Lynn? I know 10 to 20 cents doesn't seem much, but I know it adds up over time, but
Right.
If that's the going rate, I hate doing this, but anything else? Any other comments or feedback? I will look for a motion then to approve the breakfast and lunch prices for 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Got a first,
I'll second it.
a second. Those all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. Thanks for the information, Lynn. Then you said the next one is 0 to 23-24 prelim budget.
Yeah, this will only take about an hour and a half. So I'm going to stand up for this one because it's always my baby. So the district's fiscal year is from July 1st through June 30th. That's also the state's fiscal year. The state approves their budget every 2 years. So we are in, actually this very moment, they are at the state level approving their state budget for 24 and 25. So right now we don't know a lot. Where the Joint Finance Committee is looking at it, there's a tentative agreement between the Republicans and the governor. And if you go to the next slide, this is what is in that tentative agreement. Maintain 2/3 funding for public schools. Well, I want you to ignore that statement. We are not 2/3 funded. But what the state means is that they take all of the 426 school districts and they say, okay, out of all of these school districts, are we 2/3 funding public education? And if they are, they can claim that they are 2/3 funding. There are losers and winners, and we're the losers on that one. Increase the revenue limit by $325 per pupil each year. So that's each of the 2 years for the biennium budget. We were projecting a $200 increase. $325 is phenomenal. From my understanding, they're putting over $1 billion in public education at the state level. Again, nothing's been decided yet, but this is all tentative. The $325 per pupil increase is in the revenue limit worksheet. We lose in the revenue limit worksheet, even though we have declining enrollment, where, in negative tertiary, we have so much property value that we are so rich that we have to give away some of our state aid. So we're in a catch-22 all the time. So even though it says we're going to get $325 per pupil each year, for us, that could be $200. So it all depends where all the variables play out in this whole revenue limit worksheet. What's really interesting is the increase in the low revenue ceiling from $10,000 to $11,000 per student. We have been capped at $10,000 for quite some time. Increasing it by $11,000, increasing it by $50 would be phenomenal for us. But $1,000 is great news. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to equate in the revenue limit worksheet. Again, this is all tentative, and we're not really sure what other variables will play out in this worksheet if we increase it to $11,000. Any increases we get is always good news. It's just not going to be an increase that you're seeing on the screen because of all the other variables that play into the revenue limit worksheet. So the next one just kind of made me mad. Nope. Go back. Was $30 million to support school-based mental health. By all means, I support mental health, but I am sick to death of the state giving us all these popcorn monies with this much and this much rules to follow. So I have been begging the state to give us a categorical aid on mental health. So give us the money, we'll spend it how we see fit in our school district. Every school district is unique in their mental health needs. Every single one. We're different from Rapids. Rapids is different from Port and so on. So give us the money and trust us to serve our students the way we think they should be served. But again, they're giving us this school-based mental health grant. So I'm still fighting for that one.
Which we do apply for.
Yeah. But we struggle to spend it. Yeah, it's crazy. So the next one is a 33.3% reimbursement for special ed. Right now, it's a 29% increase, a 29% reimbursement. Okay, so special ed should be reimbursed at 60 to 70%. But we're okay with 33.3%.
Yeah.
At least it's going in the right direction.
Correct.
Possible categorical aid increases. Categorical aid could be library, that could be transportation. I don't know what that looks like yet. This is all very tentative. In the next few days, it's going to all kind of hammer out, and when the dust settles, we'll know exactly how it affects public education. So what's Nekoosa's budget process? Right now, we're approving the preliminary budget. Then this basically authorizes spending from July 1st to October. Why? So in school funding, we don't know anything until October 15th. We'll know what the budget passed, what the state, or when the state passes their budget, we'll know what's in the budget. It takes a while for us to weed through all of the language in regards to what exactly it's telling us. But on October 15th, we get our final number for the revenue limit worksheet that gives us the authorization, gives us an idea of how much revenue we can raise in state aid and property taxes. So we are 3.5 months into our school year budget, and we still don't have a budget. So this preliminary budget will authorize the district to spend from July 1st through October. Through July through September, we're going to work on staffing. We're going to look at operations, the heat, the lights, the whole 9 yards, and building budgets. Then October, the revenue limit worksheet is complete, and the budget is finalized for board approval. So again, many variables on the revenue limit worksheet are not available until October. Actually, right now it's a shell of a spreadsheet. There's nothing in it because we don't know anything. Usually in September and October, that's when it starts filling in a little bit. We usually have our main annual meeting after the October 15th deadline. And the reason that is, now a lot of school districts have their annual meeting now. I don't know how they can have it now because they know nothing. So all they're doing is projecting. All that information is going out into the public. And then when you actually pass your budget in October, it's different. So years ago, Nekoosa made the decision that we're not going to have an annual meeting until after October 15th, when we have our numbers, we have our figures, and everybody's saying the same language. So that's why we actually have our annual meeting after October 15th. So this preliminary budget is a complete rollover from 22 to 23. So what you saw when I presented in October of 22 is exactly what you're going to see right now for the preliminary budget. Those are the revenues. That's exactly what I presented in October at the annual meeting. And the expenses that I presented at the annual meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So a few of the items that are not presented that we already know about. This is the year that there are no base wage increases on salaries, which means that teachers do not get an increase unless they move in the schedule with their professional development. Support staff don't get increases, administrators don't get increases. It's pretty much a stagnant year. That was decided by the compensation committee, and they're okay with it. They want to make sure that we have the money first before we start giving increases in 24-25. So kudos to that committee. Health insurance, we actually saw a decrease. We switched plans from UMR to Aspirus. We went out for bid this year, and we saw we're offering 2 plans. Now, if you took a signature plan, which is strictly Aspirus, you're seeing a 16% decrease in your premium. If you took the Freedom plan, it's a 1.7% decrease. So that is phenomenal. Bus transportation, normal 2.5% increase. Nothing new there. So what are our next steps? Well, I'm going to complete the revenue limit worksheet, which dictates how much money we can raise in property taxes and state aid. And on October 25th, I will present the final budget to the school board at the October 25th school board meeting. So then to authorize the spending for the first 3.5 months, I will need a approval of the 23-24 preliminary budget as presented. Questions?
And one question that keeps getting brought up is, do we ever look at or work with like the bus company? Because we've got the 2 different start times and things like that.
Always.
So they present, you know, this is what would happen if we had 1 start time. This is what would happen if we had 2. Okay.
I can count. I probably looked at it 6 times.
Okay.
And actually, we just looked at that.
And we had a meeting with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That's been a question for years.
Yeah.
It has.
It works out every year, so.
But the way our enrollment is going, maybe when we close the school, we'll look at that.
Any follow-up questions for Linda? Did you have any?
Could you elaborate just a little bit on the no salary increases and what that committee was all about?
So the compensation committee got together. Well, actually, Terry put me in charge of getting a compensation committee together because we were in a roller coaster ride of salaries. I mean, it was confusing. So I kind of picked key players from each building and asked them to join this committee. So it's probably a committee of about 9, maybe, including Rick and I. So at the first meeting, we basically said, okay, this is your parameters. This is what we need to do. Figure it out. And Rick and I sat there and watched. It was amazing. They came up with a great plan. And all Rick and I did was kind of guide them. If they had a suggestion, they would ask us, would that work? Nope, that's not going to work. The board is not going to buy that. You got to try again. So, and then they would kind of reform it until it was a workable plan. So part of the plan was, how are we going to sustain this compensation plan? And I said, well, the only way you could sustain it is if you align the compensation plan with the state budget. If we know how much money we're getting, then we can plan for your salaries. So for example, if the state says to us, we are cutting education by $2 billion, well, guess what's going to happen? We're going to the compensation committee and we're going to say, okay, the state cut you. So either we are stagnant or we are decreasing your salaries. Which one? So they are well aware of what's going on. They are also well aware that in order to sell a referendum, this had to be completed. If we did not sell a referendum, the compensation plan would be toast. We would have to start all over. So they were invested in the referendum. They were invested in the state. So we worked together as a team, it was fun. Yeah.
So there are increases. So because of years of experience, they do get increases there.
And professional development. Yep.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll look for a motion for the 23-24 preliminary budget.
So moved.
Got a first by Mark, second by Dave. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None, motion carried. And then the last one here, I know you touched a bit on that, Lynn, the post-employment benefits.
So every year this is brought to the board for a review, and the compensation committee got together and they were thinking outside the box. And they wanted a way to make this benefit work for them. I applaud them for doing this because it will cost the district nothing, absolutely nothing. It could possibly save the district something. So basically what it is right now, we give a benefit to specific staff members in insurance, $13,000 for family, $6,000 for single, for a family or single plan up until Medicare eligibility. Right now, they can only purchase health insurance through the district. Right? If we change that plan to give them that benefit to put into a tax sheltered annuity, they can go out and get a cheaper plan for themselves, they will be off our insurance, thereby they won't be a part of our loss ratio, which affects premiums. So it's basically a win-win for the district and for the retiree. The retiree can cut ties with the school district in regards to insurance. They can go off on their own and buy a plan that meets their health needs. We can lower our loss ratio and possibly save some money on premiums. It's costing the district nothing. So I am recommending approval of this reconfigured post-employment benefit.
Absolutely. I think it's key that we keep meeting the needs of our staff members and any additional comments for Lynn? All right, I'll look for a motion then on post-employment benefits.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
First by Dave, second by Jennifer. Those all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. Thank you, Lynn. Up next, we have an AGR end of semester review.
Thank you. AGR, Achievement Gap Reduction, is a biannual report that I provide you at the middle of the year and the end of the year. And so this is an end of the year report. And the district receives categorical funds to assist with achievement gap reduction. The district must apply, renew the contract every 5 years. We are currently in year 3 of the contract. This year, the amount allocated to students or to Humke was $446,000 based on the district's free and reduced rate. Requirements of the AGR is twice a year I must report to the board, and a description of the performance objectives for the academic achievement must be included, and the formative and summative assessments we use to reach those conclusions must be discussed, and then just basically report. So, and what I did, I snuck in their pile here, this piece of paper right now, something very visual here. So if you look at this right now, just for the ease of those in front of you, we have on the left-hand column right there, all of those are math numbers. When you look at those bar graphs, you notice and on the right-hand side is reading. The bar graph on the 4K, you do have a couple of them. The reason that is just because they are measuring something very simple and they have 3 different categories. But otherwise, it really just focuses on math achievement and reading achievement from the start of the school year to the end of the school year. So I'm going to leave you a second just to process what's in front of you. You can see that in 4K, there was an upward trend in terms of where we started the year and where we ended the year. And you can see that there's some percentages on each one of those bar graphs for you to analyze. 5K as results, we also had that achievement in first grade. And then on the backside, we also have second and third grade, and those are the grades that we do have at Humke. And you can see those trends of where we're at and right now. So that's where we started the year, where we ended the year. I also want to add in there, I just didn't point this out, but by each one of the results, it's the number of students up there. So you can see the students number did fluctuate as you would anticipate over the school year. It's coming and going. But a thing I did put on the back, I want to point out there in the back also is Humke Elementary focus areas next year. So continue to, our goal is to get all students to grade level each and every year. And we're working towards that. We're putting systems in place to do that. On the back are areas of focus in the building. We have teams of people working to move the needle on learning. And these teams are focusing on these 8 different areas. And they're not as individuals working on these things, not a member of the staff might be on 1 or 2 of those things, but usually it's just one person or as a staff member asked that everybody participate in one area to help move us forward. So with those things mentioned, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
I mean, there are some really big increases on some of these. So congratulations on a lot of work on this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we're very excited about. Thank you, Cody.
What happened in the second grade math there?
Yeah, that one did go down. We were at 69% and it did go down to 60%. I would only be speculating to say why that happened. That really might have been just one kid because there's 60 kids in the grade.
Also note 69 is extremely high starting point.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was good. So,
but something they're going to be digging into.
Yeah.
Because they're digging, they're combing through that data.
So the percentages on here are all meeting or exceeding grade level?
Correct, meeting or exceeding, yes.
What is the goal that you wanted to be at for these?
Real, in theory, we want everybody to get to grade level, but in realistically, we want to get to 75% of all kids meeting or exceeding grade level expectations, and then have programs and support, much like you saw with April's presentation, to help those kids who are not meeting those goals and have systems in place to do that.
Thank you, John.
Any other comments for John? All right, thank you again, John. We will go into the consent agenda. Resignations, any principal want to speak on any behalf of the staff members listed?
I can speak to two.
I was going to say, yeah.
Deanne Roble has been part of the special education department since I have been here. She has done amazing things at the high school. She got offered a full-time opportunity in Port Edwards because since I have been here, has been a special education aide and the student services secretary over in Port in the afternoons. So she got opportunity for a full-time position, and I'm excited for her, but sad for our loss because she did wonderful things with our students. And then for Megan Wilberger, she was only here 1 year. Her significant other got offered the opportunity in Marinette County, which is closer to home for both of them. But in 1 year, she had made a significant impact on the middle school and the special education team. So she will be greatly missed, and we thank them both for all their work.
I think a quick note to that one is when Megan announced her retirement and just sort of let them out, there was a response that came back. This is from Al Kreider, one of her co-teachers that this really stuck out to me. So I just want to share it. He says, whoever your new colleagues are, you'll brighten their days. Whoever your new students are, you'll hold them accountable, care for them, and you'll help them grow. Wherever you end up, it'll be a better place because of you. I have confidence in you and in these things because that's what you did here. Just as a tribute, just very highly.
Yeah.
And I can add also with Nicole and Annie, who resigned from Humke right now. Those are two individuals which we will miss and we appreciate, and we're grateful for the work that they did at Humke. They were involved in their teams and instrumental in helping Humke learn and grow. So I thank them for their work. And also,
Nancy.
Yes.
How long has she served?
More than 20 years. I've been with Nancy most of those 20 years, and my 20 years. And she's been in the district more than 20 years. Super lady. She was at the middle school and she came over to Humke several years ago. And so I've known her for a long time. And she's an individual who really, we had an opportunity to do something different this year. And I wanted to take advantage of the skill that she has. And she has many skills. And one of those skills was just her ability to connect with kids. And she's an educational assistant. And what she would do is she just has a way with connecting with kids and just helping them and move the needle with them. So just a real gift, an individual who could teach, who wasn't a licensed teacher. And she just had a lot of special gifts. She also spent a lot of time in the playground. She was our educational assistant who would make sure that all kids would stay safe. And they were very adamant about keeping everyone safe, and I'm grateful for that. And she had a great way of complimenting Kelly Chopik, who is still with us, but she would say, let Nancy do that because she has a louder voice than I do. So it's a great recess voice too for Nancy. So she will be missed and she's appreciated.
And then Joe and Julie, Julie, if you note below, is actually going to be coming before you for approval for the business ed position. So she's actually resigning from the position that she's in currently with the Boys and Girls Club and then moving into the business ed position. And then Joe is moving on, and I thank him for the work he's done, especially around the concessions and changing the concessions model that we talked about in the past. So, and then Deanne has been great to work with over the years. Go back a long ways.
Well, congratulations to Nancy on her retirement and best of luck to those staff members heading on to new adventures. Employments, we have Nathan Black, who's here tonight, our new district administrator, taking place July 1st. Benjamin Peters, tech ed teacher, K-12. Joshua Martina, the second grade teacher for Humke, Michelle, butcher the last name, Satanovich, the special education teacher for Humke, and then Natalie Wenzel, clerical assistant AMS, and then Julie Helmick, the business education teacher AMS in the high school. Mark, if you'd like to read the donations tonight.
All right, so tonight we have donations, George Holland, $200 to the Nekoosa Youth Athletic Association to be used for middle school athletic needs. $100 from Linda Olson to be used for lunch balances. And we really appreciate those. And then under backpack for kids, we got donations from the community, $21 from the Rome Homemakers, $25 from Sacred Heart Collections, $29 from the Rome Makers HCE, $45 from Bethlehem Lutheran Women in Missions, and $500 from Empty Bowls event hosted by Focus. So very much so appreciate the community support and the member support for those funds.
Absolutely. And thank you very much to our donors to our community and school district. Very much appreciated. And then the minutes for 21 was a regular board meeting. The 26th was a special board meeting. May 10th was our reorg meeting. May 19th was our special board meeting. The 7th last week was our workshop. And then today is our board meeting. Before I call a motion to for our consent agenda, on behalf of the board, we would like to present Terry something. This very last
Thank you.
meeting. So
Wow. Nice. With our deepest appreciation, in honor of your dedication and years of service, loyal service, Terry Whitmore. Hard to read it, black on black. Or my old eyes, maybe. A time to look back with admiration, a time to look forward with anticipation. Best wishes and congratulations on your retirement from your family at Nekoosa School District, 2012 to 2023. Thank you.
awesome. Thank you for your time. And then one last thing before we go to our consent agenda for approval, I just wanted to have a moment of silence for Nancy Gross, our teacher who we lost last month. So just a quick moment of silence to pay appreciation to her and her family. So. All right, thank you, everyone. At this time, I'll look for a motion to approve our consent agenda as presented.
Move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
First by Mark, second by Dave. Those all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. July 5th, are we sure we're gonna have this workshop right after the July 4th holiday? Well,
You'll have to talk to the new district administrator.
I'm going to say no because the district administrator will be in Utah that day.
well, we'll get it figured out.
We work
So, but right now on the agenda, we have the 5th, and then the 12th will be our regular board meeting, going over policy governance, operational expectations, personnel, and then the board purpose, endowment fund grants. I did want to mention, we are looking to have the academy on this agenda as well for co-teaching, just for that reference. And then I will be looking for a motion to adjourn in a closed session.
So
First, second, we will need to vote. When Dave's ready, we'll do a roll call vote.
Cody,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and
And yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I say yes.
All right, well, thank you everyone for attending tonight. We appreciate it. We are going to move into closed session. If people want to go to the bathroom first and then we'll